Hey,
Good
look who
morning.
it is, Mark Wille. Hi, Mark.
Greetings from Chicago, my friend.
My gosh, you know what? We've talked so many times, and now I think this is one of the first face-to-face meetings we've had, right?
Ironically, when you go west, I go east. When I go east, you go west. And here we are in the
Yeah,
comfort of our own chairs.
I know, right? Hey, social distancing at its best, my friend.
Amen.
You know, Mark, I have to start off by just telling everybody a little story about us, right? Because we actually started talking probably a year and a half ago, if not maybe longer. And it was really when I started doing some interviews and you made some comments on one of my posts. And this is kind of a funny story. This is how it all started. And I missed a comment. And at some point you sent me a message saying, hey, if you're going to be good at this, you need to respond to people. And I'm like, and I'm looking and I found the comment that I missed and I sent you a message and lo and behold, I said, can I call you? And that's when we started talking. And that's when it was kind of a learning moment for me. I didn't mean to miss it, but at the same time, it's all about, if you're going to put content out there, you gotta talk to the people that are giving you their time.
Well, when you create that much attention, Dave, we want to talk to you as well, right? And
Yeah.
I kind of jumped into things, and your subject matter. I don't remember the exact post, but your subject matter really, really clicked for me, and I was like, I got to talk to this guy. And yeah, I don't think we've stopped talking at least once a week ever since.
You know what? We have not. We've been regularly on the phone, regularly communicating. I mean, you have. So I don't know if people know this out there, but you were like a magnet for connecting people. You really are. I mean, I have had some of the greatest conversations, met some of the most awesome people in this country and other places. And I have to tell you, the introductions that you've given for me have been just overwhelmingly amazing.
First and foremost, thank you, and I think your character is exactly the same. So we're all magnets for good. We're all magnets for the right people, and I started working probably cutting lawns when I was tall enough to reach the mower, and I realized the houses I liked working for were the people that greeted me with a smile, right? And the people that would talk to me and I'd get a chance to learn from them. And then I went traveling around the world doing different projects. And I met a lot of folks I didn't enjoy working with. I didn't agree with how they thought. Maybe their agenda was a little bit stronger than the goals that they set out to do. And so I spent a few years not working with certain people and trying to find people I liked first, right? And once I realized that I liked that person, then I started to figure out, what is it that their gift is? What is it that they're naturally good at, that they're experienced at, and how can I learn from their abilities? And then that blossoms, and then after that you realize, well, there's some correlation, there's some synergy in who they are, in what they do and how they work. Maybe we could do a project together, or maybe we could just inspire, maybe we could just challenge each other.
Right.
And so when you have relationships like that, I always start, with my introductions, right? I would say, Dave, meet Andrew. Andrew, meet Dave. And then I give personal comments about people, and we take off, because if you and I are sitting on the baseball diamond, we're going to do the same thing, right? Who do I like? Who do I get along with?
Well, that's exactly it. And the synergies have been awesome. So I gotta toot your horn a little bit because you touched on a few things there, right? I mean, look, I get that's just part of your bio, and I highlighted a few things because I think it's really important for the audience to know especially the ones that maybe are watching that don't know you, the true Mark. So Mark, you're into reuse, healthy spaces, and passive houses, right? And we're gonna jump into some of that in this conversation. You also have a company called Willie Woodwork, right? Which is also with McKinley Design.
Amen. Yep.
All right. You're also the CSO, Chief Sustainability Officer for Purple Box Homes, and we have the logo above your head there. So I'm going to let you say a little bit about what that is. And then one of the other things outside of you sitting on several boards, all around passive home design and sustainability, because that's really your passion, and that's what we're going to dive into here. And I'm probably going to get an education like I've never had, but I think most people don't know that you were the resident carpenter for Craftsman Tools, and you had your own YouTube video show with them, right?
Amazing. In all my life, the most amazing group of talented people. For whatever reason, this is can we dive into the story there?
Hey, listen, man, it's unedited.
Unedited. So for whatever reason, I was down in the Loop. So Chicago is, a giant city, and the area around the center is the Loop. And so the L track runs in this loop basically, and everything in that area is considered the Loop. I hardly ever go down there except for meetings. My meeting was canceled, so I had time to spare. I didn't have my truck with me. I wasn't worried about parking. So I went for a little walk. I'm walking down the street, and I see a 12-foot table saw blade, right? Just this giant blade sticking out of a masonry building. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like, the beacon of hope. What is this? So I run over to that, and everything inside is tools and motorcycles, and it's all Craftsman. So greeted by a fellow named Alex, and we just get into it. What do you do? What is this all about? And he looks at me and he says, do you want to do a show? And I said, yeah, I'll do a show. Ignorance is bliss. So he said, can you build build a bench for us live on a show? And I said, sure. What do you want? And he's like, well, we're looking for a bench that rolls, and it's used, for baseball, a dugout bench. I said, yeah, I've never made one. Sure. So I bought a kit for a 2-wheel wheelbarrow. Picked up some ash from a local friend, from a tree that was cut down in a park in Chicago. And we met up a few days later, and I show up on set, and there's 6 cameramen, a whole beautiful sound booth of editors and audio people, all their skills. And I'm standing in front of this huge group of professionals, and I say, so where do we begin? And they said, well, just tell us how the show's going to go. And I said, well, you tell me, this is your show. And they said, no, this is live, just go. So I told them each saw I was going to use, and they had all their cameramen positioned, and we filmed we're supposed to film for a half hour. We filmed for 36 minutes. And then we took a break, and we filmed for another 30 some minutes. It was all broadcasted live. Made the dugout bench. Then they had me back for, I think, 21 shows all together. It was a brilliant group. Barry Krause, Don Marshall, Greg Jones, and Steve Hyland, I believe you pronounce his last name. 4 people that in their own right have really transcended live broadcasting. And there it went.
I mean, that's just awesome.
It was amazing. I got with Robert North, Frank Fontana, and these guys have been on shows for years. They're all over the networks, and to this day we all keep in touch. They were really the true talents. I was a lucky guy that happened to be able to fit in when they needed someone.
Sure, sure. I think it's just amazing, right? One, I think it would be amazing to know what it's like to have a crew of people helping you do all this. I'm always fussing with the cameras and the lights and technology issues and live streaming delays and what have you. So I can imagine that experience was really overwhelming, just kind of hopping into that, right? It just had to be.
So fun, so fun. And you watch people to this day. Veronica works in the mayor's office. Alex is working in California. Frank has had 4 television shows since. They all continue to aspire. They're the most creative people at that. So Dave, that was 10 years ago. At that time, they were truly YouTube's most uploaded content provider of all of YouTube.
Okay.
Totally ahead of their time. And what happened out of it was Craftsman sold, for record-breaking numbers because the brand was everywhere. Not that Craftsman didn't exist prior, right? But now it existed in different generations and certainly dominated online, like nobody's business.
Right. Well, so that's awesome, and that's kind of what's going to lead us into how did you get into building science? Let's jump into the meat and potatoes of what's underneath. That beard you got going there and that hat. There's a whole lot of brain power around this, and I want to tap into that so people that are listening can understand it, because I get it, but man, I couldn't tell you where to start ever.
Well, I think you certainly have it based on our conversations. I mean, we're arm in arm, right? We're all in that group. Where it originally started before building science was with green. So people would always ask, "What is green?" And I say, "There's a million definitions based on what you've gone through and how you see the world. You can develop green in your definition." And mine was inspired by my great grandfather, who was always with me growing up, and lived through the Depression, was a farmer, a seed salesman, and he always said, "What do you have, and what can we get done with it?" And that's it, right? What do you have? What can you reuse, and what can you not waste? And so with that green, you start to challenge yourself and say, what more can I do? So you hear, Dave, you're like, "Oh, let's get solar panels," right? Okay, well, that's technology. That's good stuff. So if I put it on a building, what is that going to do? And that's when the building science starts pulling together that it's all a system connected. So do you really need 40 or 60 solar panels? Or let's say you do that. Let's say you go to your existing house where you guys live, your wife and kids, and you put on solar panels everywhere. Ask yourself, are you being green? And the short answer is yes. And the real answer is no. Because 2 years from now, you have to redo your roof. Why did I just put those solar panels on? Or you could really evaluate that whole house and say, maybe if I insulate my roof before I put on those solar panels, now I'm not going to need so many solar panels. So I'm using less energy in my building. So now I don't need as much energy. And not wasting was that, as they say, the aha moment for me. Because rather than aspiring for solar panels, you're aspiring to use less. You're aspiring to use less energy.
Right.
And that the evolution goes on from there. We talk about the building. I'm in my building more, right? So now that I'm building more, in my building more, what's uncomfortable about my building? Right? Yeah, that window over there is leaky. Oh, that wall over there is really cold. And boy, isn't that building science. Follow the dog, follow the cat around the room, and you'll see where the hot and cold spots are of your house. So the building science aspect is looking at the building, a client, you've been in construction forever. A client will say to you, I want to do this renovation, like we talked about with solar panels.
Right.
Well, you listen to everything they say because they're pretty much invested in their life of that home. But then you sit back and you could spend hours, days, weeks, really, on the outside of their building, just looking at what's happening, right? Oh my gosh, I got all this mold in my room. Well, when's the last time you cleaned the gutters?
Right.
Yeah, that's all coming from outside. That moisture is pouring in. All that is simple building science, right? We're evaluating, we're coming up with a hypothesis, and then we're talking to our friends that are smarter, and we're figuring out, what is this building telling us? What is if you were a doctor, what is the prescription
Right.
you can hand those folks?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's sounding, and I've always thought this as well. It starts with common sense, right? And sometimes it's so obvious we can't see it, like clean your gutters. That's a prime example. And I think it's just, it's really amazing when you break down that, hey, I can change my shingles put a new roof on before I put solar on. And I need less solar, which is less stuff sitting on my roof, for one, less material that I need to use. And I get a longer life run, I would imagine, out of the shingles than maybe those solar panels. I don't know. But it's funny how it's all kind of works together.
Right. Lifespan is how you maintain it, right? Clean gutter, clean shingles, clean solar panels, they're going to perform. I haven't done it yet today, but I've done it in our conversations, and you do it as well. We find different ways of explaining our industries and our thoughts. And I always go back to cars. That's from a video of my friend Corbett Lunsford, who you know, and I always go back to food, right? There's not one time we haven't talked about this stuff where I haven't talked about food. And it's because those things are part of how we daily talk and interact. And we're used to maintaining our cars. We're used to preparing what cuisine we want to create and the ingredients for that. But we don't always truly embrace the $200, $400, or $1.2 million space that we live and work.
Right.
But we go to the minutia for that new radial tire or that old Chevelle or how to make the best pizza dough and how to chop your spinach.
Yeah. You're right. It is quite amazing. It's the old adage of, a lot of people work and put health and their fitness second to work. And I think it's that mindset that we all have, where, we should be focusing on the things that make our lives better, improve our health, improves our longevity, and then overall improves our happiness. I can tell you what, if I don't see mold on my wall, I'm a lot happier than if I see mold on my wall, right?
Well, and that's it. The happiness is there. Gosh, whenever people say mold, for the first 10 years, Dave, I was in construction. I would be like, can we not use that word? It's kind of like the word lead. We're like, let's just not talk about that. You hear lead, and in the trainings they say, don't test, just encapsulate, right? When you hear mold, we need to stop being afraid. We need to realize the mold is everywhere, but it's easily managed. Termites, same thing, but it's all easily managed. The mold conversation, people go down into the minutia, right? And everything becomes to be a panic. And it's because I would say, first of all, they've been in that environment. And so they're already not firing, right? Here and in this beautiful machine, because it's not healthy. And so their happiness, as you mentioned, the happiness is not there because the health is not there. And when the health is there and the happiness is there, those are both on the rise, right? Food tastes sweeter. The walk is brighter. You're not looking at the rock on the ground. You're looking at the cloud in the sky that, the greatest architect ever created.
Right.
So,
sure. Well, let's jump into this stuff. That's a good intro. We're going to go through, we set up some bullet points for everybody, and we're going to look at this as just like a 2-minute run through each one, because some of it's kind of crazy, but let's get the basics out of the way. So first, net zero. I always see you talking about net zero. Give me the 2-minute flyover on what net zero means to you.
The most catchy term in the last 18 months has been a net zero. So what it means to me is, first of all, it's an attention grabber. I've spoke about Passive House for 10 plus years, and I say the word net zero and the room lights up. What people don't realize is the fastest way to net zero is Passive House. So net zero is So net is the accumulation of all the energy used for the building. I don't care whether it's your house or your business or your church or your school. It's the energy used versus the energy created on site, right? So your building is able to receive an endless amount of energy, radiant energy, right, from the sun. So if you're able to require less energy to operate and enjoy that beautiful building, you offset what you are truly using, right, to fire up that electric LED, right, to fire up, if you have to, your television. All those things, they each have a value, right? They take on a certain amount of watts, or however you're calculating your electric kilowatts. So if you balance these out, and that's just on the electric level, right? The same thing applies, hopefully, to water. That's the magic thing. But typically it's energy in terms of energy used versus energy produced on site. To some people, Dave, net zero can be maybe you're getting that solar energy from another building because you're not able to harness it on site, or wind. Maybe your town produces a significant amount of energy from their turbines. So it could be net zero shared from the community, but while I love community, I think we could take care of it house by house, building by building, industry by industry, for sure.
So, and we're going to move on to the next one, but I think with net zero, it can be new homes, or it could be existing homes that could be retrofitted to be net zero or close to, correct?
Perfect thing to say. We have more existing buildings than we ever have room for new buildings. And you could certainly retrofit them because you already know everything about the environment. And so now you take on those little fixes to bring you there.
All right, perfect. Carbon free. Let's talk about what carbon free means. I hear this all the time: carbon footprint, carbon free, carbon. We want to reduce our carbon footprint. Why buy stone from Europe and then put it on a ship and then spend all that diesel? Right? There's all these scenarios that happen, for energy efficiency and green products. But it really doesn't matter if you're shipping it halfway around the world to get that green product. So tell us what carbon-free means to you.
Yeah, the same thing. Boy, carbon-free, there's so many smarter people out there to answer it. Simply stated, just to segue from that, simply stated, existing buildings, right, that you mentioned a second ago, all that motion of the factories and the trucking of each component of that house to get that produced. Let's take a house in 1910. That building's sitting there So the energy it took, the carbon it took for each of those bricks to be made, each of those sashes to be cut out of timber and trucked from Minnesota and machined in Pennsylvania, and the housing for your mechanical unit, from the original mining in Indiana to the later production in Pennsylvania, and then the electronic board, every component in there, from your oak flooring on up, there's embodied energy that goes into each of those pieces and put together. So that's an immense amount of energy in our existing building stocks, like a lot bigger than this brain can tap into. Right. And then if you go to the new construction, now you're demolishing that building, so all that energy is lost. It's popped into a landfill, and now here's the new energy to produce all those materials for a new structure. And then where does that energy come from? Is that fossil fuels?
Yeah.
In most cases it is, right? We have a ton of oil, we have a ton of coal, and it's a cheap, easy way, dirty way to heat a building. We have an endless supply of solar energy, so is carbon-free possible? Sure it is. Boston did a study. How much electricity would they need if the entire greater Boston area removed fossil fuels? So if they did that, they would need 3 times as much electricity, right, as they have today. So people say, well, is Chicago doing that study? The answer is why. Boston's close enough. I don't care whether it's 2 points this way, 3 points that way. The study's there. We need more electricity. So, okay, we have the same sunshine Boston has. I'm pretty sure that sun hasn't moved. So let's keep harnessing that, and let the ground produce our trees. Let the ground produce our fresh air, and let's leave everything else in the ground.
Perfect. All right. That's probably the best answer that I've heard on that yet, because it's confusing to a lot of people. We got a lot to cover here in a short amount of time. Moving on.
All right.
What is OffSite? Now, okay, this is my world, OffSite construction, right? But OffSite to me is the same to you, but you have a few extra categories in OffSite. And one of the ones I want to talk about is this. Right? We have modular, we have panelized, we have, concrete and log homes they consider offsite. But there's a couple that you really, really like. What, pop-up?
It's the same thing as net zero, right? Pop-up is a phrase in certain industries that'll take off. If I walk into an industry with interior designers, with experiential marketers, with retailers, you say the word pop-up and they just get it. Well, the same thing happens pop-up in farmers markets and everything else.
So you're talking like pop-up stores.
Pop-up stores.
Yeah, I know that. Okay, got
it. In order to make a pop-up, you need a warehouse. You need a factory, right? Or you need a very big tent. And you produce it off-site, and then you deliver it in the dawn of the morning or in the late afternoon when people aren't around. And then they show up, right? Everyone has their same routine. They're walking to the train, to wherever they go, and all of a sudden there's a new building there. They start second-guessing themselves because they walked that way 1,000 times. They look, where did that thing come from? They're literally in a quandary. It's like someone put a tree in front of their sidewalk. So it pops up and it's finished and it's active and it's enjoyable. How the heck did that happen? Man, it's kind of like dinner, right? Every night dinner is a pop-up, right? All of a sudden it's there and there's lasagna. Right. How did that get there? It popped up. Right. Well, that lasagna was made in the kitchen and it was delivered and everyone got to enjoy it. Well, These pop-ups we make in our kitchen, and we deliver them like pizza, and people eat them up.
Love it.
They're just beautiful. I don't like a lot of glass on buildings. All the clients do. But when it comes to the world of pop-up, you usually have a lot of glass. So in the hours that you happen to be closed, people could still see inside, and they could see, the pies they're going to buy tomorrow, or they could see the interactive displays if you're a audiovisual group, or they could see that hat or that beautiful dress that they want to buy for their loved one and share, right?
I love it. I love it. Pop-ups coming to a street near you.
I hope so. There's a ring.
All right, here's one of your favorites. Seriously? People live in shipping containers, man?
Ridiculous. Right? Isn't that where we get all our supplies, right? People live in these things?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, come on, I got to hear this, and something tells me it's energy efficient and green.
So anyone could build something to live in, and I aspire everyone to do that, right? To build it the way they want to live. A shipping container is not designed for people. Never was, right? It was the vision to mass transport goods in the most efficient way possible, like the incredible brain that created it. And everyone makes shipping containers the same way because they all have to nestle together, right? It's not like I make shipping containers and mine fits this way. I make AC, I make DC. No, they all interact. And so the shipping container idea, I was at first embraced with it, and then I realized how uncomfortable they could be. So if you've ever been to a movie theater in the afternoon on a hot, sunny day, and you're in your movie, you come back out to your car afterwards, your car is closed up because you were inside, watching Star Wars or whatever. You come back to your car and you can't get in. You cannot get in your car because it's got to be 20, 30 degrees warmer than the air around you. And it's just been baking, right? It goes through the steel. It's radiant. There's no convection, and that air is just sitting there. It's hot. So that's what happens to a shipping container, right? It's a metal box that absorbs all the heat, and it's uncomfortable. So when first I think people live in shipping containers, I say, we got to change that, and we got to make it comfortable, right? Back to what we talked about earlier, healthy, happy. So in order to be healthy and happy, you also have to be comfortable, right? No one gets in a car and says, I hate this chair, I'm going to buy this car, right? No one gets into a hot shipping container and say, I'm going to live in that. No way. We're going to insulate it. Beautiful thing, insulation, right? You would never put a hat inside your coat and wonder why your head's cold. You put the hat on, right? And magically, you're warm. So just as you're warm, you're also kept cool, right, Dave?
Yeah.
I like to put insulation on the outside of the shipping container before that heat ever touches the steel, just like the hat. Put it over you, just like the sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Keep that cold out. Keep that heat in. Continuous insulation is the magic word for comfort. Continuous insulation is the recliner of the family room, right? It makes everything comfortable. So a shipping container, people live in them. We'd love to make them, and we love to make them with building science, and we love to make them with energy efficiency. And we've never made a passive house version. And I have a feeling one of your friends are going to be our first client.
Yeah. Well, good. I hope so. I hope many of my friends become your clients. So
amen.
We have about 2-3 minutes here. So let's fly through. I put up flat pack homes. What is all right. So we went from pop-ups to shipping containers to flat packs. Flat pack?
So the closest thing I could say of flat pack that we would know is the Sears home was a kit house, right? And so the Sears home got delivered. It had everything you needed to build a house. So a flat pack is those same components, but typically panelized together or connected together in layers. It's dropped off and they're either assembled, right? Not constructed, assembled, or they're hinged to literally unfold. So flat pack allows for the efficient delivery of materials and quick on-site assembly because everything was done off-site. It was all done in the factory.
Yeah, I've seen some companies that overseas, Europe, Estonia, is real big in offsite. And if people could think of like an A-frame folded down on itself, and then the crane grabs it in the middle, pulls the whole thing up, and it just unfolds and doom. And then they just keep putting them side by side each other, and they have some knee wall type on the exteriors.
Right.
And you can build a fully insulated structure pretty much in a day.
Yeah, they show the crane because Americans aren't very strong. In Estonia, it just takes two guys, and they go like this, and it's done.
You know what it is?
Yeah, we'll get there one day.
Is that why they win all the world strongman contests or something?
Oh yeah, they're incredible. They equal meetings.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Mark, man, this has been outstanding. It's been fun. What is the one takeaway that we should give to the audience? Because we covered a lot of ground. I mean, we really did. We went from passive house to shipping containers to offsite, and really, I wanted to do that because you're such a world of knowledge on a lot of different subjects, and I think it's really important that you're on the front lines of this passive house. Let's build green. Let's be more sustainable. Let's be healthy. What is the one thing that everybody could do right now, whether they're building homes, they live in homes? Well, we all live in homes, at least we hope so, right? What can everybody do to make an impact that you think is so simple and small that we overlook every day?
First and foremost, use less. The whole theory of refusing, right? Using less, reusing, repurposing what you have. Try not to buy things because then you go into that theory of throw it away. There's no such a way. So if you're using less, what is there? There's more to enjoy. So you have a community around you that you could share with, that you could learn from. They have gifts, you have gifts. So use less, embrace what you have, and focus on that. Happiness, healthy, comfort. It's all with who you are.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It really is. Well, Mark, listen, I got a couple shout outs here. We have Marcy Klein from Fairfield. Fairfield County, Connecticut. I don't know if she lives in Fairfield, but said, thank you. Very motivating.
Her family is incredible. You and I will be speaking about her later today. Her kids developed this incredible architectural kit. And you and I will be talking about it later today. We didn't get to it over the weekend, but
right.
There's a lot coming with Marcy and her amazing kids and her husband, David.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to it. We started a little bit of banner offline. So Marcy, I told you I'd catch up with you later. Hopefully that happens today. Robert Beeks signed in as well. And Anthony Good had comments and Tiffany McCall. So there's a whole lot of people. I just want to take a quick look, and it's always fun to thank people for, checking us out. Funny enough, there's a guy on here. I'm gonna throw him out there. He's an ex-combat medic. He served with me in the service, Marvin Nichols. I told him, I said, I'm gonna get you on camera one of these days. He hides and runs from me all day long. So Marvin, if you're still listening, we're gonna hunt you down, man. So I just love it. But yeah, we got quite a few people that have given us likes and what have you. Jordy was on, Pushinger. I don't know if you know Jordy, co-founder of ModuCore, but you're going to have to meet Jordy. Great young guy introducing some technology in the industry. So listen, if I missed everybody, because what happens sometimes is the live feed ends and that's it. All of a sudden, all these questions pop up or something happens that I'm not seeing as it's happening now. But if you have questions for myself, please send me a message. Mark, we'll put you in the follow-up as well so they can send you a message, and we'll go from there.
April 15th, I'll see everyone on our live meetup.
Yep, Passive House live meetup.
And thanks for putting that link out there, Dave. It's free education for 10 years straight, and we're not going anywhere, brother.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad I'm going to be a part of it now, and we'll keep putting it out there. So listen, stay healthy, stay green, stay energy efficient, and we'll be talking this afternoon. Thanks so much, Mark.
Enjoy your day, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you so much. Bye now. Well, there you have it, everybody. That was Mark Wille. I'm Dave Cooper. Stay tuned. Tomorrow we will be on with Building Modular at 1 o'clock. Don't miss it. Thanks again.